this up into two separate lessons. So for the second half of our 3.2 and 3.3 lesson, we are going to talk about multiplication and division. So our first section here, we have reverse. So we will talk about this rule on when you would reverse or flip your inequality symbol. But if we were to reverse our greater than or equal to symbol, this would turn into a less than or equal to symbol. You are just flipping your inequality symbol. If you have a less than symbol, the reverse would be a greater than symbol. So the reason we talked about this is that we have this very important rule when we are multiplying and dividing with inequalities. So when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must flip or reverse, depending on what you remember it as, the inequality sign. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples, and we will talk about the situations in which you would need to reverse or flip the inequality sign. So our first example here, we have c divided by 8 is greater than or equal to 1/4. So for this example, we need to multiply in order to get 8 out of our denominator. So we have 8 times c divided by 8, which we also have to multiply to the other side. Remember, by multiplying this, our denominator will cancel out. This leaves us with c is greater than or equal to 1/4 times 8. Remember, you can turn this into a fraction over 1, which would give us 8/4. We can simplify this. 8 divided by 4 gives us 2. So we have c is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, let's go ahead and graph this inequality. So we have 2 in the middle of our number line. A value greater than 2 would be 3, and a value less than 2 would be 1. So at our point 2, we need a closed point because of our equal to symbol. And then let's shade the direction that our inequality is facing, or is pointing, which would be the positive direction or the side greater than 2. All right. For our second example here, we have n divided by 3, negative n divided by 3 is less than negative 1. So when we simplify this, remember, when you have a negative within your fraction, the negative either has to go to the numerator or denominator. It does not matter. In this case, let's make this negative 3 so we can simplify this in one step. So to undo our division, we must multiply. So we can multiply both sides by negative 3. Okay? Our negative 3 and our negative 3 will cancel, leaving us with n is less than, well, hold up one second. Negative 1 times negative 3 gives us positive 3. As you can tell here, we needed to multiply by a negative number. So we must go ahead and flip our inequality symbol. So we will have it face the other direction. At this point, we can go ahead and graph. We have 3, value greater than 3 would be 4, and a value less than 3 would be 2. So let's go ahead and make an open point at 3, because it's not equal to, and now shade the direction that the inequality is facing, which would be the positive direction, or the side greater than 3. Okay. So on to our next couple of examples where we will need to divide. For our first example here, we have negative 10x is less than 20. So negative 10 and x are currently multiplying, so we will have to divide. So let's divide by negative 10 divided by negative 10. That will leave us with x. Remember, since we were dividing by a negative, we must flip our sign, is greater than 20 divided by negative 10, gives us negative 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph. Be careful with our negatives. We have a negative 2. Value greater than negative 2 would be negative 1. And a value less than negative 2 would be negative 3. So, since we just have a greater than symbol, we can use an open point. And since our variable is on the left, let's go ahead and shade the direction that our inequality is pointing. Finally, we have 44 is greater than 11x. 11 and x are multiplying, so let's go ahead and undo the operation by dividing. In this case, 11 is positive, so we do not need to flip the sign. 44 divided by 11 gives us 4, which is greater than x. Okay, in order to graph more easily, let's rewrite this so that our variable is on the left side. This will give us x is less than, make sure your inequality is facing the correct direction, 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and plot our points. We have 4, a value greater would be 5, and a value less than would be 3. In this case, we just have a less than symbol, so let's use an open point. So we have an open point at 4, pointing the negative direction. So those are just a couple of quick examples of how to multiply and divide to solve your inequalities. You guys will pick this up very quickly because you'll recognize that all of these steps are the same as when you solve a linear inequality, although you need to remember when to flip your inequality symbol. Okay, we will do lots of practice on these during class. Please let me know if you have any questions, and see you in class.